Hey, welcome back to the channel. I am Deidre Morgan. I am a licensed clinical social worker associate. I'm a child advocate. I am a former teacher. So I've been in the game for a while, and I'm just bringing some experience to you guys, or things that I have experienced and things that I know to work, because I currently do also work in a classroom, just not in the capacity as a teacher. I'm a therapist, so I literally go in the field, work one-on-one, hands-on with kids, and bringing teachers resources and helping parents as well. So this is going to be helpful if you are, for anybody, if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you are a teacher, if you are an advocate for children, if you're just someone who supports teachers in the classroom, if you're just an auntie that has a child for, an extended period of time and you're not really sure where to start. Hey, I got you. This is the place. This is where you want to be, I promise. So we're going to just off bat, let's be real. Kids thrive off of routines. Kids need structure. It helps them feel rooted, grounded, and makes them feel secure when they know what is the next step. Predictability brings peace, right? Predictability brings peace. Predictability also keeps down those behaviors, because transition is a big factor when it comes to challenging behaviors. So a lot of times kids have issues when it's time to transition, whether that's drop off to the child care center or to somebody that's taking care of them. If they're playing with toys and it's time to put them away and go eat lunch or wash hands or go outside, whatever, use the bathroom, it gets hectic. Or if it's just time for nap time and they just don't want to do it. But what makes it better is when they have routines and visual schedules, things that they can see. So not only do you need a routine, you also need something that's visual, because children's brains need visuals. They need to see, I was here, now we're doing this. This is what's after this. And I always encourage parents. So I'm going to put a link. I'm creating some visual schedules. And I'm gonna link them below once I'm finished with them. They won't be done by the time the video is posted, but they're gonna be below. And they're just scheduled. They're cards that are common things that families and schools do. So wash hands, use the bathroom, outside play, nap, breakfast, brush your teeth, lunch, all those things. I would suggest that also you are consistent with the routines. Consistency. It also matters because a lot of times children deal with anxiety or they have trauma. And it is hard for people who have been in traumatic events to trust authoritative figures. It's hard for them to just trust the day-to-day adventures, because trauma has kind of done some things to their brain. So it's like, I need to be in control. I need to know what is next. So to be able to offer to children the ability to know what is next is such a great gift. Also, those who have anxiety, young children are truly getting anxiety at younger ages. And that is just, that is a result, I believe, that is a result of parents not having organization in their own lives. Not all the time, but sometimes it comes from, one, the parent is very anxious themselves and they passed it down to their child, or two, the child themselves, the parent themselves has not created an environment where children feel safe, or where children feel like they know what's next. It's like something is always changing in their life. And so schedules and routines and visuals are a really, really, really good thing. Now, this is I don't know if I've ever said this before, but this is a Christian a Christian channel. And I like to match these things with scripture. And because scripture drives life, right? God is a God of order. in 1 Corinthians 44:33 tells us that. It says, for God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. And so if we want to continue to bring peace into our home, like God himself is peace, why not start with your children? Why not start with teaching your children how to obtain that peace by creating schedules? And it's something that it helps them to be able to use this skill later on in life. Schedules, we use schedules every day as adults. You have calendars, you have this, you have that, so we know what's next. I always like to tell people, it's like if you go to work, normally they tell you ahead of time like what lunch, or you plan out your lunch ahead of time, right, with your supervisor or whoever. They know 12 o'clock is that lunchtime or whatever that time is. But imagine going to work or starting a job and that job we tell you when you can take your lunch. I don't know if there's jobs out there like that, but my anxiety would be up here, because I'm like, I don't know how to plan for my day around this. Meetings will get scheduled on top of lunch, and I like to eat, so there will be some meetings that I might not attend. So it feels like that when kids are in a classroom working so hard to learn. Like when they're playing, they're learning. And to break that because it's time to go outside, and then their brains they have no concept of time. So to break that out of nowhere, you building, you working, you building, putting these towers together, and you zooming these cars back and forth, and you're learning these animal sounds, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, time to go outside, let's go guys, or time to go wash your hands so that we can eat lunch. No, of course you're gonna have an attitude. Of course they're gonna have some challenges around switching from point A to point B. So in order to avoid that, let's do some schedules. Make your lives easier. I have been in the classroom where I have had mostly challenging behaviors, or children who have developmental delays, or some type of learning delay that has caused them to have some type of behaviors that could be challenging to some. But I chose to challenge that by giving them jobs as helpers and by creating routines, a visual routine for them. And so my first year as a lead teacher, I had 18 kids in my class. 9 of them were typically developing. The other 9 had special needs. That was work, right? Second year, I had 9 that already came in with identified needs. And by the time I left, I had 16 children who had special needs, and mind you, I only had 18 kids. That was my max of kids that year. So needless to say, I have, figured this thing out, or I have halfway figured it out, because all kids are different. No child is the same. So let's talk about what a routine looks like. So I know in a classroom, if your child goes to a classroom, and again, all schedules are different. Not all schedules are the same, but a typical schedule might look like this. They arrive at the center, wash their hands, put their bags away, wash their hands. They might get an opportunity to play with manipulatives, which are just toys on the tabletop. Or sometimes they let them go to like dramatic play, or just pick whatever center they want. And then it's time to wash their hands and get ready for breakfast. Then they wash their hands again, go to the bathroom, and they let them free play or do group activities. They'll have circle time somewhere in between. And then it'll be time to go outside. So they wash their hands and go outside, wash their hands, come back inside for lunch, wash their hands, lay down for a nap, or wash their hands in the bathroom, lay down for a nap. And then they will get up from nap, use the bathroom, wash their hands, have snack, wash their hands again, and then play until it's time for them to depart or go home. And so that is, for teachers, that was my staple routine. Every now and then we had something a little different, if it was a special interest of the class or a special activity that we had to do. Now, at home, you can break it down. If you are a parent, you break it down to morning, afternoon, and bedtime routine. And That could be wake up, brush your teeth, get dressed, breakfast, you know, read a book, prayer, affirmation, whatever it is you want to do. Then afternoon, it is snack, homework, outside, dinner, screen time, you know, wind down, get a book, whatever. And then nighttime is, you know, brush your teeth, read a story, do something with the family, dinner. It's all up to you. What I suggest to parents though is start small and be consistent. So start with one thing. If for parents, I like for them to start with, or suggest for them to start with reading a book to their child every night if you don't do that already. And if you do that already, then brush your teeth. Like, find one thing that you can be consistent with and do that one thing for at least a couple of weeks, and then add something new. Teachers, I always suggest greetings, because arrival is most of the time can be kind of difficult depending upon the age of your child, but let them choose the greeting that they want to give you. So whether it's the fist bump, elbow bump, high five, hug, bump hips, whatever it is you choose, let them choose your morning. It's a morning ritual or a morning greeting, and that lets them know, okay, that's building relationship with them as well. And then move to getting a visual picture chart, but also talk through your day with them. Put timers up before you're switching centers. Put up a timer to say, hey, when this timer goes off at 10 minutes, you can say 10 minutes, the timer's gonna go off, and that means we have to clean up. When you hear it make this noise, right? When 5 minutes comes, tell them, and 3 minutes, I'm gonna give you another warning. This is your 5-minute warning. I'm gonna give you a 3-minute warning. When 3 minutes come, okay, in 3 minutes, this alarm is gonna go off. You have to continue to remind kids because they learn through repetition. So that's why you have to be consistent and do it all the time. And you have to keep reminding them, and they're not gonna get it at first. It's gonna be like, okay, whatever, or it's gonna be like, no, I'm not doing this. But eventually they'll fall in line. But you gotta be consistent. You can't just do it today and not tomorrow. And so start there. So that is my tip at the moment for routines. I have more resources in the description area. Tell me one routine that you can commit to doing today with your child. If you don't already have a routine, let me know one thing that you are committing to doing with your child as a routine. And if you're a teacher, let me know. What are you starting your class off with? What are you choosing to do? All right, so that is all for now, but I want to remind you guys to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will be posting way more updates and tips and tools and things, because I have a lot of information from working with kids, and I want you guys to get this information. I'm also putting together a toolkit for people who work with children who have challenging behaviors, of things that I have found to be very helpful, and I'm sure that they will help you also, as long as you're consistent and you don't give up. All right, I love you guys. I will see you next time, and don't forget to hit that little bell too, so that you will know when I'm posting. All right, love you guys. Bye.